In section 2.3, we will talk about the slope of a line. The slope of a line is given as the rise over the run between any 2 points. So let's say we have 2 points like this, and you count how much do you go up, how much do you go across. This is your rise, this is your run, and that will tell you the slope of a line. If a slope is positive going left to right, the line will go up. If the slope is negative going left to right, the line will go down. So this is positive slope, this is negative slope. We also have a zero slope and an undefined slope, which we will talk about a little later on. So there are two ways of getting the slope of a line. You can either count the rise over the run, or the rise is just the vertical change between 2 points. So that's given by y2 minus y1. The run is a horizontal change, which is given by x2 minus x1. So we can use this as a formula to calculate the slope between any 2 points. So for this given line, we're going to calculate the slope in two different ways. One using the counting method, rise over run, and the other using the formula method. So let's try the counting method. To count, we can start with either point, it doesn't matter. I'm going to start with the lower point because my rise goes first. So I'm going up 2 units. 1, 2, so my rise is equal to 2. Now, my run, I'm going to the left, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So my run is going to be 4 units. So if I get my slope, my rise is 2. Now here's the thing. Anytime I go in the negative direction, this run is actually going to be a -4 because I'm going in the negative direction. So my run is going to be -4. When you have a positive divided by negative, the negative goes to the middle. 2 over 4, if you reduce this, so we can divide these each by 2, and this gives us a -1/2 as our slope. So this is the counting method for finding slope. Let's do it using the formula. Now, I have two different points. One point is -1, 0. That's my lower point. And my higher point is -5, 2. So before I can even use the formula, I have to label each point. So this point is my first point. This is my first x and my first y. So it's x1, y1. The second point, this is my second x and my second y. So I'm going to label this as x2, y2. So label one point as x1, y1. The second point is x2, y2. Then my formula is x2 minus x1. Sorry, it's not. It's y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So now let's start plugging things in. My y2 is 2 minus my y1, which is 0, divided by x2, which is -5, minus my x1, which is -1. Notice I have two negatives here. One negative that's part of the formula, and the other negative because the actual x1 is negative. So 2 minus 0 is 2. These two negatives back to back, and anytime you have a negative back to back, it becomes a positive, and -5 plus 1 is going to be a -4. 2 over -4, the negative goes to the middle, and 2/4 becomes 1/2, so this is going to be -1/2. Either way, we get the exact same answer. Now, the benefit of doing it using the formula is sometimes if you have bigger numbers, it's hard to graph them. So doing it the formula method is always easier and more practical. Let's take a look at another one. Here we need any 2 points, but you can't pick like a point that's in the middle somewhere. So we have to have 2 points that are exactly at the intersection of two coordinates, like these 2 points. So the first point is a point 0, 3. We stayed in the middle. We went up 3 units. My second point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -1. So the second point is going to be 5, -1. And we want to find the slope of this line. So if I count my rise, I'm going up 1, 2, 3, 4. So my rise is equal to 4. In my run, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, my run is going to be -5. So if I use the counting method, then my slope is going to be rise over run, which is 4 over -5, but the negative moves to the middle. That's -4/5. Oh, and notice that for both these lines, going left to right, they were going down, which is why they had a negative slope. Going down, therefore we have a negative slope. The other method is we can take one point. So let's take the point 5, -1, label that as x1, y1. Second point is 0, 3, label that as x2, y2. Now, if you switch these around, if you label this point as x1, y1, and the other one as x2, y2, it makes no difference whatsoever. You will still get the same answer at the end. So now let's plug this in. My slope formula is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So y2 minus y1 is 3 minus -1. I get that double negative because one from the formula, one from the actual y1, divided by x2 minus x1. So two negatives back to back, I know will give me a positive. So this gives me 3 plus 1, which is going to be 4. And then 0 over -5 is -5. Same thing, negative moves to the middle, and our slope is going to be -4/5. Here's another equation. So I'm going to label the first point as x1, y1, second point as x2, y2. So my slope is going to be y2 minus y1, that's -6 minus 2, over x2 minus x1, that's 3 minus -7. So -6 minus 2 is -8. Now if you have two negatives back to back, that does give us a positive. So we have 3 plus 7, which is 10. And if you reduce that, this gives you a -4/5. This next one, let's do in class. But I'll get you guys started. First is x1, y1. Second is x2, y2. Okay, we'll do this one in class. Next one, we want to find the slope of the line that passes through the points 3, 2 and -1, 2. First off, just for these two examples, I want to show you guys what the points 3, 2 and -1, 2 look like. So 3, 2 is here, and -1, 2 is here. Notice that through these points, we have a straight horizontal line. Now remember, slope is rise over run. Rise is how much do we go up or down. We don't go up, we don't go down to get from one point to the next. So we have no rise. And let's see what that does. If I call this point x1, y1, and I call this point x2, y2, my slope is going to be y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So this is 0 over -4. Now there's a rule that 0 divided by any number is always going to be 0. So 0 divided by -4 is going to be 0. So for any horizontal line, we have no rise. We don't go up or down. We just go straight across. So all horizontal lines have a slope of 0. Now on the flip side, let's take a look at the points 4, -1 and 4, 3. So this is 4. Actually, let me do it in a different color. So if I have 4, -1, that's going to be this point. And then we have 4, 3, that's going to be this point. And here's my line through them. So notice that this line is going to be a vertical line. Now a vertical line goes up and down, but it doesn't go across. There's no run. So let's take a look at what happens if we find the slope. This is x1, y1, x2, y2. So my slope is going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So two negatives back to back becomes a positive, so this is going to be 4 over 0. Now, whenever you divide by 0, so if you have any number divided by 0, then this is undefined because division by 0 is not allowed. So this is going to be undefined. So all vertical lines have an undefined slope. Okay, and then here is a summary of slope.